Okay, we're gonna, excuse me, sir, we're gonna start our meeting now for,
I didn't see that in the daylight, that's why I just noticed something tonight. I saw the pavement, yeah. Oh, I see, so the water will flow down into the brook.
okay.
We have to start.
Good evening. We're a little bit late. Wednesday, September 26th, Planning Board meeting for the Town of Dudley. Present this evening, Pan Humphreys, Vice Chairman, Daniel Edmiston, Clerk of the Board, myself, Guy Horn, Chairman, and we have Don Johnson as our Town Planner. First item on our agenda this evening, approval of minutes from September 12th, 2018.
They're there, but unfortunately, they weren't finished until today because it was such a long meeting. Carol had also asked me about something about that. She thinks that if she attends the meetings, she can actually get the minutes done faster.
Okay.
So she can take notes that she would use and do the transcription, and it takes about, well, let's say, for example, an hour meeting might take about 2.5 hours to transcribe. So, a 2-hour meeting like last week, it takes quite a long time. So she thinks that if she attends the meetings, she'll actually save time.
So could you talk with, I guess you'd have to talk to the town administrator to see,
Yeah.
or actually maybe you start out at the town accountant and ask her how our budget is.
Yeah, I can see if we can get a few extra hours too. I'd like
Yeah,
to do
because
that.
if we have extra money in the budget, then we could spend it for her to come to the meetings.
Yeah.
And then that way there, we'd have the meeting minutes sooner, and it wouldn't be as difficult for her to transcribe.
Yeah.
So is what we have now, is that up to date? What's in the book? Is
She
that
just finished
complete?
those today.
Okay, but what's in here is complete?
Yeah.
Okay.
The minutes she put in the book are complete, but she just completed that at like 3:45 this
I
afternoon.
just read them, so.
It took her an extra week because, it was a 2.5-hour meeting
Yep.
last time, so.
Well, we can make a motion to allow.
I have one comment here on item C, sub-item C. Mr. Bonnar moved to approve the ANR meeting. He also seconded the motion. I don't think he can do that.
No, you can't do that. That's a typo.
Yeah, so
I
exactly.
haven't proofed it yet, so. I haven't had a chance to proof it.
That's the only item that I
Just-
caught that
just
was
finished.
That's a
off.
good catch.
Thank you.
I don't remember who
Yeah,
said
why don't we postpone these minutes until the next meeting? I mean, it's not like
Yeah, agreed.
we're very far behind on minutes. We're only one meeting back, which is a good place to be. So we'll take a look at that and ask Carol if she can review that one note that you brought up, Dan, and get that straightened out for the next meeting. The next item on our agenda was A&R plan for 25 Marshall Terrace. Don, I gave you my comments on this from the phone call with the applicant last week.
Right, I spoke with her this morning too, and she's thinking, when we suggested, drawing a diagonal lot line rather than drawing a straight lot line, to include that vegetated area, there's a section of trees over there that could be incorporated to the new lot. Considering that, but she also is considering going to the zoning board of appeals as well,
Okay,
because of the lot size,
it's her option.
so,
All right, so we'll just have to
to table that one.
table it. That's fine.
But she says that she wants to explore these two options first, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
It's good to have options. Okay, the next item on the agenda, discussion, status report on finishing construction and acceptance of uncompleted and unaccepted subdivision streets, including Pierpont Estates, Rocky Hill Estates, Piasta Road, Country View Estates, Tobin Farm Estates. So why don't you give us information on Pierpont?
Yeah, Tony was out of the country for about a month,
Okay,
so I guess he goes abroad in the summer, just about every year. So he got back to early this week, I guess. I spoke to him on yesterday, and he said that he is planning on something didn't pan out with one of his contractors or whatever it was, but suffice to say that he says that he's doing the drainage work this week. He's raising the catch basins, to meet the top coat of pavement. He'll be doing that, but he expects to be done by the end of next week. He has a contractor coming in either late tomorrow, sometime tomorrow rather, or early next week, and he expects to have it done within a week.
All the paving or just the raising of the catch basins?
The drainage work, the raising of the catch basins, I guess he'll do the pavement soon after that. I imagine he can do that within.
Okay, so his intention is still to finish all the paving this year?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. Because originally you told us it would be done by the end of August.
Yeah, well,
Didn't
I
happen.
expect it would be October.
Okay. All right, so we just have to wait and see what that's going, but there should be progress there.
Yeah, it's a happening thing. It's going along well. And by the way, I think there was some questions from the selectmen about the money that we hold for Pierpont Estates. We have 3 performance guarantees with that subdivision. There's 3 phases that he's working on.
Right.
The last phase that he did within the past year was that the 6 lots up on top of the hill.
Right.
Originally, we had $120,000 for the remaining work. And because of some work that he did over the interim, we reduced it by about $22,000, I think it was, or something like that. To $88,000, I guess it was. Anyway, it's been reduced, and I think there's some misunderstanding about why that was reduced.
Yeah, because he had done work and we were holding more money than we needed to.
Yes, that's right. And it's a specific section over there. It's only about 600 feet of roadway.
Right.
On the other 2, we have one lender's agreement, 3-party agreement, and that's like $300,000, and we have another one that's about $400,000 for the second phase. So we're holding a lot of money in that subdivision.
Okay.
It hasn't been released yet. I don't know what he'll do, if he'll move his letter of credit or cash bond, whatever he has. He says it's backed up by a cash deposit. So he may move that over to do the rest of the remaining work in the subdivision, like final cleanup and everything. I don't know what he's gonna do, but we do have we owe like over $500,000 in that subdivision
Okay,
between those 3 agreements, so it's well
in good
well
shape.
taken care of.
Okay. The next one is Rocky Hill Estates.
No more.
Rock-
Nothing doing that one.
We did get a request from the attorney with the lawsuit to postpone it
That's it's
October,
coming in on October 4th.
October 4th.
Tomorrow.
Okay. So the attorney from Boston that's representing local clients regarding that subdivision's lawsuit would be in Town Hall on October 4th to look at the
All the
correspondence for that subdivision.
But now, when that first came up, there were supposed to be like thousands of them, right?
And
Correspondence
See all the books that are on the table?
I haven't looked at them, no. There's tons, right?
How many books are there?
4. It's a little more than that, but there's only 4.
Oh, I thought when I walked in, all the ones on the end of the table are not for that
Yeah,
subdivision?
they are.
I thought there was like 8 books there.
There's 4, they're thick.
Oh, okay.
But how long did that take you, and were you reimbursed? Was the town reimbursed for your time?
And
Oh,
just
he
doesn't
didn't
take as much
copy
time
them.
as I
He
need.
just
Just-
pulled them all out.
What I'm
Just
gonna do
pulled
is
them all
put them, gather them, put them in front of her and let her look
Yeah.
through. There's a few more flat plans in the cold storage room, whatever you wanna call it.
I think she's looking for
Archives.
correspondence. I don't think she's looking for plans.
I
But
think so.
you shouldn't have to go through everything, correct?
No,
Isn't that
no,
the-
she's
I'm
gonna
not
come
gonna
and
go
Okay,
through it. I'm gonna
alright.
through and hunt for it myself. She's gonna look, see what she wants.
We just had to provide her access, that's it.
And I can provide the minutes as she goes, so I don't wanna leave the minutes out there for a week, but I can do that. When she's there, I can say, well, let's get the minutes from 1990 to 1995, and you can look through them, and we'll put them back, and I'll get the minutes from 1996 till.
Right, so there are more books.
Whatever.
He doesn't have, he has the correspondence for the subdivision, but the meeting minutes for the planning board for all those years are not included in that. If she requests to see that, he can pass them out to her whenever she wants to.
She's willing to go through the minutes too, I guess, and
Okay.
pick out what she wants, so.
Yeah, I just said to her it would be too tedious for us to do, and we don't, we're
Well, I
not
was gonna
staffed.
yeah, exactly. Or they would have to
Yeah,
pay Dawn extra.
right,
or-
and she understood that. That's why she volunteered to come do it. As long as we can make it, it's public information, we have to make it available to her,
Mhm.
which we're doing, and she's fine with coming. She just had a conflict with the last scheduled meeting, so that's why it got postponed till October. So, okay, so that takes care of Rocky Hill Estates. The next one's Piasta Road.
Send Mr. Angelowitz an email, I haven't heard from him.
Okay. And I did, like I said, I did talk to that contractor who did the work on the road previously, and he told me that their intentions was to finish it by the end of the year, although next week is October, so hopefully, if they start,
End of the year is about.
they start so they can finish before the snow flies, yeah.
Might get the first week of November if you're lucky, but
Yeah. Okay, and then the next one we have is Country View Estates, Eisenhower Drive. So this was the subdivision that we weren't getting any response with the developer. I reached out to the developer personally to see if he would, what the situation was. Basically, as I stated at the last planning board meeting, that he was upset with having to try to, being forced to, in his opinion, being forced to seal coat the road. Again, I don't see anything in our subdivision control law that says that you have to seal coat the road before it gets accepted. I went and looked at Dave's Way, the other subdivision that was previously accepted that was seal coated. That road right now looks, in my opinion, worse than Eisenhower Drive looks now. So I couldn't imagine why you'd want to seal coat something that's, in better shape than the one that we just did. And he's willing to finish it this year and get it on the agenda for the Springtown meeting, if he doesn't have to seal coat it. And then the only other outstanding item that was for that subdivision was street trees. When he talked to me, he told me that the meets and bounds were in. He's willing to do the repairs to the road that happened last winter. There was one catch basin that heaved up at the end of the road from the ice or snow. There's a water shutoff that's raised up or something. He's going to take care of that. And there was a couple of cracks across the road that went all the way across the street. He's going to get somebody to come and fill those cracks in so that they weren't open for plows or what have you to go in there. And he would plow it for this year because it's still his responsibility until it gets accepted. So on this one, I just think we should make a formal vote that we're not going to require the road to be seal coated, and we're not going to require the developer to put the street trees in, but he will do the remaining work, the repair work that's necessary, and he will get the as-built plans drawn up and submit all the paperwork and fees to the town for it to be, which has to be done by January 31st of 2019 to be on the agenda for the Springtown meeting in 2019.
Before we vote on this, I do want to just ask once again, because the selectmen were so convinced that there was something in our bylaws. Don, do you have any, you spoke to?
I think there's a policy, I think it's a policy.
It's a policy?
I think so.
You mean like a town bylaw?
Not that I'm aware of in the bylaw. I'll show you what their form is. It's the form of street acceptance.
This is what the selectmen were
It's the selectmen's form.
referencing?
Yes.
There was something about the seal coating.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
There was a letter from Dan Guyon from, I want to say 2006 maybe. The reference that all roads that have been in pavement for, sitting for over 2 years, I think it was, should be seal coated.
So it's not an actual bylaw, it was just a suggestion by Danny
I
Guyon?
don't think it's not on that form that I can see. I know it's not in the regulations, not in our regulations.
Did you see it in here?
No.
Is there anything in there about street trees?
About what?
Street
That'll
trees.
be our regulations.
Hmm?
It'll be our regulations.
Right.
It would be in our jurisdiction.
Right. So he should be putting those in based on our regulations?
I believe the subdivision was designed with them. The problem we have now is with the subdivision being so old, people have put in sprinkler systems, the same deal as with what was going to happen at Pierpont.
You know what it is, particularly on this one? I don't know if you were around from Dave's Way. I don't think you're on the board yet.
No.
What happens is that at that particular time, they would design the subdivision so that the trees would go in between the sidewalk and the pavement and around the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
Stan, did you want to say
But
this?
what we're finding out is that those trees start to grow and they heave the sidewalks, sometimes even the pavement itself in the roadway.
I'm
So
sorry,
we
John,
decided that it's not,
what were you saying? I'm sorry, I missed.
sometimes what we found is that those trees, when they're planted in that grass strip between the roadway and the sidewalk, roots heave the sidewalk, sometimes even do a number on the roadway too.
I agree.
So there's no, it's really, I mean, it was something at the time that was in vogue, but it's not anymore because it's a maintenance issue too.
Just trying to deliver mail and then after the trees start to
can
grow.
imagine.
Oh my gosh, the mirrors, it's
That's
awful.
what Dan said too about the trucks.
Yep,
They clip the mirrors with the trees.
exactly, yep.
Yeah.
Typically, on a typical subdivision, the grass strip can be anywhere from 2 to 5 feet. And, you know, some streets are smaller, some streets are wider, but I live in a street that has a 2-foot grass strip, so the street trees got planted behind that, so they're on the other side of the sidewalk, but
See, that's
they're closer, but they
so
are
they're in your yard practically.
just before the yard, yeah. But they, you know, but they were done when the road was built versus, you know,
Right now.
years later, because, I mean, now, I don't have a sprinkler system, but my next-door neighbor does, so if they were to probably plant some today, they would be digging up what she,
So why would we require him to
It was-
plant the trees?
it was
It was a thing
originally,
at the time.
what they were thinking about, typically when they build a subdivision, they do a lot of clear cutting.
Mhm.
And this was a way to get some established trees back in the subdivision immediately after the home was being built. Because you don't see too many developers that build new homes or new subdivisions planting trees in people's yards. But we could put that in as a,
There was a place I worked that had a provision for it too.
we could put that in as a provision in the bylaw in the future, rather than have street trees, that every new home that's built in town, that the developer has to put a minimum of 2 trees in.
Yeah, that,
When I lived in Virginia, that's what they did. The developer would, you know, they'd build a big tract subdivision, and every house got 2 or 3 trees. You could pick the trees you wanted, you could pick them where you wanted them to be.
Or you leave existing ones standing if possible.
If you don't need to cut them down,
Right.
That too, yeah, so it's a-
makes much more sense.
right.
Sometimes they have you have to cut down trees for septic system,
Right.
not those lots.
Right, but on a subdivision, like, you know, a lot of the ones that are in town, where you have town water and town sewer, you're not so worried about septics. You could leave a lot more trees standing and just build the houses, but it's easier for the contractors if they can drive equipment all the way around the house all the time.
Right.
So
I
they,
had a tree that was right over my sewer pipe and it grew real tall. I fed it. Eventually the root went right inside the pipe.
that's another problem, if you have septic.
It's another problem if you have septic, that's a
Right.
problem. If you have public sewer, that could be a problem too, because that's what I had.
So that could be something that we could look at for, if we make a change to the subdivision rules and regulations, that rather than street trees, we ask the developers to put, you know, 2 or 3 trees on each lot.
Depending on the lot size too.
Yeah, I mean, if they're doing a 15,000 square foot subdivision, 2 trees should be fine. If they're doing a 2-acre subdivision, they could do 5 trees, you know, something like that. Or leave existing trees standing, you know,
Yeah.
because you're not gonna get, if you plant a new tree, it's gonna take some time for it to establish.
Actually grow, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's the board's pleasure on Country View Estates? Do we
Well,
wanna?
last month, we didn't vote on it, but we agreed that the developer didn't have to seal coat the road. So do we need a formal vote on it this month?
I think we should make a formal vote.
Should we have the developer come in and then request this, or requesting it through you is good?
Well, I think he kind of did it in an email.
In an email? Okay.
Yeah, you did. Do you have a
Said-
copy of that email in here by any chance?
I didn't see
I don't
anything.
think I did, but
Okay.
basically what he said was, he understood that the board voted to do those 2 things, but I checked back in the minutes, and as I thought,
We
the board
didn't,
hadn't really voted.
we just discussed it.
I think it's best to take a formal vote, and we can get in touch with him, that he can come in and get the forms and so forth. I think it's better to take a formal vote.
We can wait till next meeting if you want to.
I'm just thinking about the tree issue. I see the sense of leaving them out because of the irrigation and because also of bothering tow trucks, et cetera. But just trees are usually a nice thing to have in a development, if we had them in the plans.
Mhm.
Just trying to think if there's anything that we can do to replace those, or is it kind of a offset?
We could ask the developer to offer a tree to each of the homeowners and see if they would be willing to plant it in their yard.
So at this
It's
point,
been
that's how old is that,
That's-
12
that's good,
years?
yeah.
12
I
years
mean,
old.
if somebody came
Yeah.
to me and said, hey, we're going to plant this tree in your yard, I'd be like,
Yeah, I mean.
if I
that-
wanted a tree, I would have put one in.
That was what I was getting at. I was thinking about the same thing, you know, if, you could offer it, but you can't make them take it
No.
on the land.
Yeah.
Yeah, so based on our discussion, I'd like to make a motion that we, let me make it classes real quick. That we not require that the subdivision be seal coated, and that we not require the planting of trees between the road and the sidewalk.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. And that takes care of Country View Estates. Tobin Farm Estates. Don, I think you got something to talk about on that one.
Well, I've talked to town council a couple times, but I don't have a definitive answer on the sidewalk issue, but
Okay,
we're gonna take a look at some case law from ADA and AAB, Agricultural Access Board, and see if there's any precedents that we'll be setting. Our initial thought was, well, yeah, it was approved that way, it should be finished that way, but
Right.
I explained the situation, but, you know, they said, well, should be finished that way. They're looking into it anyway. They haven't gotten the definitive answer yet, but I talked to them this week.
and then, wasn't there another situation with the two lots that are on the other end of the street?
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's the modification to the subdivision. Pam will remember, Dan wasn't here for this one, but we approved the subdivision modification. One of the owners in Tobin Farm Estates,
Mm-hmm.
there was a cul-de-sac, short cul-de-sac street that went off that, access to 3 lots. Somewhere along the lines, the applicant deleted that portion of the roadway, combined into one lot and sold it to this woman by the name of Wendy Petrinos. And Wendy realized what she had. She thought that she had 2 or 3 lots in there to build on, but there's only one. And there's a problem with the frontage too, and the lot that was left. So the long and short of it is, because since there were only 2 lots over there, the board waived the construction standard to do it more as like a common driveway. Because it's only servicing 1 lot. If it was, it's adequate, the common driveway is adequate access for just 2 building lots in that particular area. So the board waived that. Along with that was the covenant, the standard covenant, which said that it would be done by December 31st, 2018. Now, Mrs. Petrinos is closing on that tomorrow. And the person she's buying it from asked for an extension of the covenant to 2019,
Okay.
just by 1 year, so.
So she's selling the lot,
She's selling the 2 lots. She's selling the whole project,
so it's finally been sold.
yeah.
And so the people who are buying it want,
Want to be sure that they don't have to build it to finish it this year, that's all.
so do they need to come in and talk to us?
No, I think we can just, we'd extend it 1 year.
So we're gonna basically be voting to extend an extension of an amended subdivision of land of Tobin Farm Estates. And this has already been filed at the Registry of Deeds under Book 56498 from pages 307 to 310. And the current covenant, as Don just said, will expire December 31st, 2018, and this new form will extend it to December 31st, 2019, so that the new purchaser will have time to do the necessary work that's needed to access the 2 lots that they're purchasing.
And this is just the common driveway?
Right, do you have the plans there, Don? So in Dudley, a common driveway for 2 lots is permissible. If you want more than 2 lots, you have to get a...
If they want another lot, they'd have to come back in and modify that plan. Maybe they need a full street for that, we don't know, but the board waived that to,
Yeah, I remember this just being
Common
so
driveway standard.
convoluted. The whole thing was just very confusing.
So this was like, this circle that you see here is the layout. This cul-de-sac is what, like, the layout would have been.
So this would be the common
The
driveway.
common driveway is what's proposed here, the smaller sketched out part with the turnaround at the end.
Of course, it remains private.
Right, and this is all,
That's
yeah,
part of the approval, too.
That's
It's on
right, so
first
they're
page.
responsible for
Responsible
plowing,
for the
for
whole thing,
everything,
plowing,
right?
maintaining it.
Maintaining it.
Graveling, maintaining, drainage.
We signed off on this in 2016. So it was done in 2016. So these were the two plans that they had. So it's basically just giving them permission to build a
Just-
common driveway.
Just the same thing, we're just allowing it to
Well, it's gonna be
continue.
open another year, that's
Yeah.
all.
Make a motion for that.
So I'd like to make a motion to extend the covenant for the properties as just formally read by our chairman.
Okay, so we have a motion to extend the amended covenant for a section of Tobin Farms Estates. It was book 56498, pages 307 to 310 for 1 year, from December 31st, 2018 to December 31st, 2019.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
One person is gonna have to sign that tomorrow in front of a notary, I guess, 'cause we don't have our,
Oh, Greg's not
we don't have our
Greg's
notary
not here.
tonight.
Can you come tomorrow?
In the afternoon?
Anytime,
I could be here by
Anytime-
about
anytime
3
by
or
7
3:30.
o'clock. 10 by 7 o'clock,
Anytime until 7 o'clock?
yeah.
Okay, I should be able to get here by about 3:30.
Well, I don't know who the notaries are, and I think the town clerk is here till
Or-
7, but I'm not sure.
Or Finn is one, and I think her clerk.
Ori is one, is Ori gonna be here?
She'll be here
Probably
now.
done.
Okay, so somebody should be
Somebody
here
will be
then.
They should be here.
Should I come to see you first? Or who would I go to
I
see?
can leave it, oh yeah, you should come and see me. Is Michelle's a notary? I think. She'll be here after 4:30. She'll be here after 4:30.
Until 4:30?
She'll be here until 4:30, Michelle.
All right, I'll make it definitely before 4:30. Where is she, in the selectman's office? or-
Yeah.
Will she have the paperwork then?
Yeah, I'll tell her it's coming.
Okay, so I'll just go up and see her then.
Thank you very much.
No, no problem.
Okay. All right,
Make myself a note.
next on the agenda is item D, final.
One signature blank on that.
We did.
We did.
We'll give it back to you, Don.
Look
Okay.
over it.
Yep, no problem. So next item on the agenda, D, final inspections associated with site plans, including AMP Solar. This is the one that's out in West Dudley. Have we heard any more on that? It's not up and running yet, completed?
Being sold farm now,
Yeah, no, okay,
not completed yet.
all right. And
Be proactive on that one.
Okay. And the next item on the agenda was supposed to be 7:15. We're running a little bit late, but it's okay because we're not really going to do it tonight. It was a public hearing for the definitive subdivision plan entitled Dudley Estates, 18 single-family lots with access from Jesse Road, owned by 4 Lots Dudley Realty Trust is the applicant, and they're asking for it to be continued. This was continued from 9/12, and they're asking it to be continued until October 10th as the next meeting. So we will move that until October 10th. So the public hearing was open, but it's not closed yet, and it'll continue until we get to the end. Next item on the agenda, E, general discussion of potential zoning bylaw amendments for the 2018 Fall Town Meeting. So this would be the marijuana bylaw that we discussed last time.
I handed out to you last week, I did a little bit of redrafting, mostly to refer to where the town meeting article we worded. You see, I wrote in the top article, to see if the town will vote to amend the zoning bylaws to add a new medical marijuana and marijuana establishments component as follows. And amend the definition, and then the use catalog is what it's called, but that'd be the listing for the uses that are allowed. It's adding one, we're adding to the use by district chart. And we're adding a whole new section, section 315, and you've seen that. And we're amending the definition section to make some references back to section 215, 315 rather.
Okay, so do you have a copy of
So
that
there's
for us to
a little
review?
bit of an addition. I think the selectmen don't want to have a marijuana cafe, or whatever you want to call it.
Do you have multiple copies
I
of
do.
this? Okay.
So that's the one I highlighted in black.
Yep. So this is
We
from,
didn't really say that we allowed that use, but if you define it and then specifically say it's not allowed, that just about tells the way it is, I guess. We want it. So I added a definition.
Is this our bylaw, or is this, who's sponsoring this?
I guess we are.
We are?
it's a zoning bylaw, so we, by right, we have to do that, because we're responsible for the zoning bylaws. All right, and then the other issue that came up, I don't know if we discussed it last week or not, but the representatives from Forefront Solar did come forward and ask us to put
Yeah.
the bylaw back on for the next town meeting.
Yeah, I've given that to Michelle already.
You've given that to Michelle already?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So basically, what we'll have to sponsor another article, same article we sponsored twice already for 2 town meetings. The one would have been the spring town meeting and the other special town meeting. And we'll do it again at this fall town meeting for the solar farm off of Ramson Road with the conditions that were attached to that project, that the completion of Partridge Hill Road would be done prior to the development of the solar farm.
So is this the exact same thing that we brought forth?
Exact same article.
All right, I've had people ask me how we can do that, since it
We
was
can do it
voted
because we
down.
recommended it. The planning board recommended it to the town.
But the people voted it down.
We can recommend it again.
You can't get they call it unfavorable action. You can't get unfavorable action back in the town meeting unless the planning board recommended it in their final report, which actually was done 2 times.
Right. If we said it wasn't, if we said no, we weren't going, if our recommendation to the town was not to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and it got voted down, it's over with. But our recommendation to the town was, we should do this, we should consider this. This is a good thing for
Right,
the
we said
town.
that twice, and
Right.
first we withdrew it, or
Right.
postponed it. And the second special meeting, it was voted, I don't understand, because I guess, I thought that if it was voted down, they couldn't come back for like another 2 years or something.
It can be brought up if it was a favorable recommendation on the board, from the planning board, it can be brought back
So
up.
they can just continue to do it until,
Unless we vote against it,
Unless we-
unless we
unless we
decide
don't
not
recommend
to.
it, right?
Right.
Okay.
But, I mean, the issue that I saw with the last time was, it was a very small group. And it's gonna be the same thing, it's gonna be the same thing this time.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that the people have to realize is that all zoning articles require a 2/3 majority vote.
Right.
So twice as many people have to be for it to get it to pass. And so, if 2/3 don't vote yes, it's not gonna go this time either. So, but
We're
it's
in the
just,
hearing on those 2 articles on the 24th of October, by the way.
right, so we'll have to have another public hearing. People can come in and talk about it.
Another report to town meeting, so.
Before the town meeting?
Yeah.
So would that be October 10th,
No,
or the week before the town meeting?
what week is the town meeting?
29th.
The 29th.
October.
So that's after, our next meeting would be the 10th and then the 24th. So we'll have the
Okay,
24th,
so, okay.
we'll have the public hearing on the 24th, and then we'll have the town meeting on the 29th, which is the Monday or Tuesday?
Monday.
Okay. All right, so that takes,
Wait a minute. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
That's right. Yep.
okay, so that takes us to the economic, can't speak tonight, economic development planning discussion.
Discussed it a little bit with the Economic Development Committee at the last meeting. And I think we're looking to another emphasis for that village center district.
And you talked,
We're probably looking more toward the section of the town where the Stevens Mill is,
right,
rather than that area. The area that we were looking at before was where the karate studio is in Outlet. That's right, almost right on top of the well. So it's not really feasible to do a lot of development over there.
Okay,
Part of that property, I didn't bring that with me, but I have a map of what they call the Zone 1 on the well, where the town has control of the land uses. There's only certain things that are allowed, like, you know, for the well itself, that's about it. It's about that 250-foot zone surrounding the well.
it's that part of the aquifer protection.
It is definitely the aquifer protection area, the Zone 2.
Yeah.
The whole lot's in the Zone 2, but
Okay. So, yeah, like what you mentioned last time was it might be more feasible to do something with the, with encompassing the mill overlay district that we have.
yeah.
Okay. That's fine with us.
Proceed from there.
Yep.
Study's underway, so.
That's good.
And I'm gonna try, I think I mentioned this the last time, but we'll try to get some meeting probably November. Harvest season is just about over then, I think, right? With the agricultural people.
Say that one more
I'm
time?
trying to get a meeting with the agricultural people, the farmers,
Okay,
sort of a forum on that. Probably sometime in November, early November, I'd say. Range, the whole, you know, the whole farming community. May not be aware of some of the opportunities they have, so, you know.
and the next thing on the agenda is planner's plate, but I think we already discussed this item, which was about the attorney for the Rocky Hill Estates lawsuit. Do you have anything else on your plate there, Don?
I think it's in your notebooks, right? Carol made a copy of this, but 2019, 2018, actually, fall 2018 workshops, Citizens Planners Training Collaborative.
Okay.
I don't know if any of you will want to go to any of them, but if you do, let me know. This is a listing of them. You can refer to the website, too. They have a pretty good website. This is the workshops they're offering. Carol told me that she would like to attend some. I don't have any problem with that if the board doesn't. Particularly the ones that it says, roles and responsibilities of planning and zoning boards, part 1 and part 2.
Yeah,
She'd really like to get to know that for the minutes and so forth. So
that's fine.
I may go to one of them, I'm not sure.
Okay.
See how that goes.
I've been to a lot of them. Are these the ones that they hold at, not Nichols College, at Holy Cross College?
Not always Holy Cross, but yeah, it's been there.
Okay.
They're all over the place.
These look like they're all over the place.
Some in Worcester, some in Springfield, some in,
Bellingham, Medway,
yeah.
Oh, so these are the local ones.
Lowell.
Because once a year, I think they still have the once-a-year program at Holy Cross College, unless they did away with it.
Oh, you mean that the Saturday?
Yeah,
Yeah, the full day Saturday. Right.
yeah. And you can usually get to, if you go there for the whole day, you can usually get to at least 2 to 4 different seminars, depending on how long they run. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Dawn, you have a
Kevin?
letter there from one of our members?
Yes.
Okay, so it was with some regret that we received a letter from Kevin Sullivan, a member of the planning board. And he's letting us know that he had to, I'll just read the letter. I regret to inform the board that I will no longer be able to continue my duties as such. I'm announcing my resignation from the Town of Dudley Planning Board. I've learned a lot this past year about zoning regulations, of course, but I'll always value the firsthand experience in town government more than anything. We faced a lot of issues, but there were always residents making their voices heard. When there were concerns about rainwater overflows, homeowners in the neighborhood brought it to our attention. When questions about developers were asked, people were waiting for the answer. at the town meetings were always a center of lively debate over planning board proposals. I want to thank my fellow board members, Pam Humphrey, Guy Horn, Dan Edmiston, and Greg Menoit, and our town planner, Don Johnson. It's been a great pleasure working with you all this past year. I'm sorry, but I have to end my term before its completion. But I'm sure you'll fill my vacancy with someone competent and enthusiastic about the role. Best of luck to all, and keep up the great work. Sincerely, Kevin P. Sullivan. So, yeah, it's with regrets that we have to take his resignation, but if we could, Don, look into one of the certificates that they have that we could send out to him for
Yeah.
his work that he did complete.
Selectmen have those, don't they?
Yeah, I believe that they come from the selectman's office, so if we
Right.
could send him a certificate, and basically it's a thank you and appreciation for his time spent on the board. And we do have a new alternate member that's come on board to take the place of Mr. Briere. So I guess we'll have to notify the Board of Selectmen that we have an opening, and the next we'll have to appoint the next person with a joint board vote like we did Mr. Benoit, but we can let it be known, if we can have maybe it put on the town website that we have an opening, and then if anybody wants to volunteer.
I could ask, you want me to ask him first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can ask the alternate first, if he's willing, that's fine, and then we can post the alternate's position. But if anybody out there that wants to come forward and serve, they can have the opportunity to make it known, that's fine. Send us a letter or get in contact with you when you have your office hours, that's fine. And, town planner, we'll give those back to Don. And I think that completes our agenda, because I don't think we're going to have any comments from the audience.
There's one more thing, everybody's favorite,
Okay?
Phil needs help.
That's it?
Fill this out.
There's 3 copies there.
Oh, Personnel Board would like us to fill out the review of the sexual harassment policy.
Do we have to do this right now, or can we take it
I
home
think,
for?
I think you can take it home and then sign it and bring it back. I think we just have to make sure that we have a copy, and we can prove that we received it on public television, so. All right, so is that all done?
That's all I have.
Did you have any vouchers that needed to be signed?
We don't have any vouchers this week.
Okay, that's good. All right, motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn?
I
Motion?
second.
You have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
This is a lot easier than